That is so good. Country boy chewing gum. Folks, today on the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel, we're gonna show you a lot of cool stuff about keeping bees. So come along today as we add more supers and show you guys how to make farm fresh honey for yourself. You can do it in the city too, guys. Okay, guys, welcome back to the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel. Today's video is brought to you in part by our friends at Triad Bee Supply. They're not paying me to tell you that. They are my friends. Guys, if you need beekeeping equipment, check out triadbeesupply.com. There'll be a link down the video description. Anything and everything we're using today can be bought right there and shipped right to your door. Good times. So today's project here on the Stoney Ridge is working the bees, and we're going to be building foundation, frames with foundation, and we're going to be installing new supers on top of the honeybees. If you're curious about beekeeping, this is a super fun hobby slash business. It's a hobby that you can make a little bit of money with, and we're going to give you a little bit of honeybee education. So stick around all the way to the end. There's a lot to learn here. We're going to have a fun little video, probably 12 minutes or so of honeybee action. Stoney Ridge Farm. All right, folks, welcome back to the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel. If this is your first time or your 50 millionth time here, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Just so you know, I have eyeballs, but I wear sunglasses because the sun's bright and I don't want cataracts, so protect your eyes. This is the beekeeping setup for today. I've got a little assembly line going on here, and probably after the video I'm going to assemble a lot more of these frames, but you'll get a touch of that here in just a second. This is a TYM T254 tractor. Awesome little 25 horsepower machine, Yanmar diesel engine in it. That's what we're going to use to transport all this stuff over to the honeybees. Now, we're here in the garden, and there's no secret why the honeybees are close to the garden to help pollinate our garden. Our chickens are close to the garden to help fertilize our garden. And our greenhouse, which is on the flow trailer, will eventually be right here where we can start seeds, where we can grow trees. We've got all kinds of stuff. So subscribe to the channel. You're gonna miss something if you don't. Do it. You owe it to yourself, right? Earlier in the year, we instilled packages of honeybees into these stands. There were 5. 1, 2, empty, 3, 4. There's 4 left. There were 5, and there was 1 left over from last year that was right here, and it perished. I don't know why. Honeybees are hard to keep nowadays. They just are hard to keep with all the sprays and insecticides that people are putting out on their land and or out on their pastures. Just like this, we don't spray, okay? We are all organic. We are as natural as we possibly can, and we work with nature here on the farm. So today's Working with Nature project, and I'm standing here with a beard by the bees, which means beard means bear, which is not good. So let me show you exactly what we've got going. Right here is an 8-framed hive. Okay, you see it leaning a little bit that way. We've got to fix that lean. This is a 10-frame hive. This holds 8 frames, and you'll see those frames in a second. This holds 10 frames, and you'll see those frames in a second. This is an 8, and this is an 8. Honeybee boxes need to be a light and or pastel color. Now you'll see I've installed a box with no paint on it right here. I'll have to address that in the fall and replace that box with a painted box. In the top of our honeybee hives, and I'm not one of those super duper brave or stupid people, there's a special amount of ridiculousness in a person that will get into a beehive with 80,000 bees with no gear on. I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna do it. I don't like getting stung in the lip or in the mouth, and that's right where they go every single time. So this is a little rack that will hold our frames, but today we may not even get into any frames. We're gonna open this little guy up right here. Let's see if we have any bees on the top first. Yeah, we got a couple, but not much. So this is what it looks like. We're crowded. We're overcrowded in this hive right here. So we need to add supers. This is a super. That is a super. I use all medium supers. Some people use a hive body, which is a little taller. I use all mediums because in the winter time or fall, the bees migrate upward in the hive and you need to rotate. You can't rotate them if you don't have all similar supers. So that's why I use all medium. So these come unassembled. This is a frame, a medium frame with plastic wax-coated foundation. These are held together with little nails. So we've got just a few more. I got out here yesterday and sweated like crazy. It's morning time now. So we're gonna go ahead and assemble some of these, and we're gonna get them over on top of the bees. We're also gonna pop out a few frames, so stick around. We're gonna see if we have brood or if we have honey. We should have honey, and sourwood is in full bloom here on the Stoney Ridge farm right now, which is arguably the most delicious honey on planet Earth. Awesome, sourwood, the sourwood tree, lily of the valley. So this is a 8-frame medium super, meaning it holds 8 frames, 8 of these dudes right here. That's it, super simple, guys. If you are thinking about being a beekeeper or keeping bees and doing something good for Mother Nature, I think it's an honorable plight. Whether you make money or not, you will learn something. And if you do this with your children, they will learn, they will also learn, and you will learn. You don't have to fear bees. Bees are not the enemy. Bees are what we need here. We need bees for pollination. Now, the honeybees, I'll talk to you as I work here. The honeybees that we have are called Italian bees. They are Italian honeybees. The honeybee that we know of that produces honey in our country is not native to North America. So when you hear folks talking about, without the bees, we would never have anything. We wouldn't have any fruit. We wouldn't have this. Yes, we would. The Italian honeybee, as we know it, or Russian honeybee as we know it, is not native species to North America. So that's just something interesting. We have bumblebees, we have all sorts of native pollinators, but the conventional wisdom is that we need honeybees, but they're not native to North America. They are needed to pollinate things like almond groves and such like that. Monocrop and destruction of honeybees has been super horrible, guys. We have been monocropping, which means growing one single crop and moving our bees rather than keeping our bees there year round. We move them to a specific field or a specific crop, and we let those bees pollinate them, and then we move the bees to the next place. Well, what does that do? If you like lasagna, right, and I like lasagna, then we eat lasagna. But if we eat only lasagna for the next 6 weeks, we're gonna be sick. Well, why do you think the honeybees are disappearing? Why do you think they're dying off? It's the commercialization of the honeybee industry, which is a necessity to keep things pollinated. However, is it the best for the bees? Probably not, guys. So it's something to think about. It's a little bit of honeybee drama, if you want to call it that. But our honeybees are very, very important to us. They're very, very important to the farm. The honey is absolutely delicious. It's an awesome source of sugar versus going and buying sugar at the store or whatever sweetener, high fructose corn syrup, high fructose fake sugar crap that's out there in the grocery store. So be sure you support your local beekeeper. Buy local honey, guys. These guys work their butts off, just like I'm gonna do today, to bring you awesome farm fresh honey. We've got everything together, guys. There's a reason why we're doing this at this time. Right now, it's just about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and we want to get into the bees as they're all out foraging, not as they're coming back and not as they're staying home. So early in the morning, you'll have more bees in the hive. Late in the evening, you'll have a lot of activity and more bees in the hive. This time of day, the hottest part of the day, where I'm about to have a heat stroke, is the best time to work the bees. This is the official Stoney Ridge Farmer beekeeping tool bag. Inside this tool bag, I have several tools and several things that I keep in here all the time. One of those is a bee brush. Basically, you use the bee brush to brush off bees that get on you or on the frame or on the outside or inside of the hive. That's a bee brush right there. The other thing that we're going to use here is for removing frames. All we do is reach down, grab a frame, just like so, and pick it up. Super simple. This is totally designed to remove a frame without damaging it. The next thing that we need is a hive tool. This is called a hive tool. It's a little nail puller. You can get them at a hardware store, or you can get them over at my friends at Triad Bee Supply. All this stuff can be bought at Triad Bee Supply. This is my gloves, and this is a ventilated bee jacket, okay? Don't need any fancy bee pants. I like to just wear some really lightweight Columbia type pants. Let me show you. It's like parachute pants, hammer pants. So really lightweight pants like this right here work great. Be careful, they can crawl up your ankle. And guys, it is so hot out here that a little bit earlier I thought something was crawling down my leg. It was a sweat bead. So without further ado, we're gonna bust into the first hive right here and show you guys what's going on. That's the one we already opened up. We'll get everything all set up and we're gonna reinstill this. Honeybees don't like the microphone. Oh, also, you need a smoker. This is the smoker that I use right here. Again, available at Triad Bee Supply. And I also use burlap. So burlap works really good. I buy these burlap sacks for like $1 a piece, so it costs me $1 every time I work the bees. That ain't too bad, and this works really good for smoke. We'll light this up and show you how it works. So this is the smoker. Here's how we do it. I just take the burlap, we'll light this guy up, we'll tuck him down in there. There you go. Be careful, don't burn yourself. Just be smart. Isn't that clever? See how easy that is to get your smoker fired up if you use the right stuff? Burlap does awesome. Don't use plastic, use burlap. That's our smoke. Awesome. So what we're gonna do is smoke the bees. Smoking the bees makes the bees think, oh man, there's a forest fire. So they run and they gorge themselves on honey. And when they gorge themselves on honey, they're too busy drinking honey to sting you. So we're gonna smoke the front of the hive first and the bottom of the hive, just like so. And you'll hear them, zzz, you'll start hearing loud bees. Be careful, the bees' wingtips can burn, so you wanna be gentle. Windy days. Windy days aren't the best for beekeeping. Okay, get this guy good and fired up. I'm gonna go ahead and open our lid like we did earlier. There's some bees on the top here. It's all good, no worries. Pump a little smoke into here. Oh, we've got honey. Oh, that looks so good. Hot dog. I'm excited about that. I need to go grab another super so I can put my honey in the appropriate place. We're gonna be able to extract some honey out of this. So I went and grabbed this. I've got some extra frames all ready to rock and roll. They just fell off. It's awesome. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna rob these bees. We're gonna take a little honey out. Take our hive tool, just like so. Ooh, watch those bees. Mind the bees. Pop the lid off. That's called a screened top board. And this is money in the bank right here, guys. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Nope, that's brood. That's capped brood. This is all gonna make baby bees, okay? We're gonna put that right back in the way it was. We'll check the outside edge first. Typically that's where you're gonna find your honey. Let's do one more little check. Oh, you're gooed up good. Yeah, this is typically what you see in a healthy hive. Honey and brood. Honey and brood. This is mainly honey. But it's not capped, so we don't rob uncapped honey. This one is slap full. We've got something called burr comb right here. We'll pop that burr comb off. And that's for snacks for later for me. Not the bees though, we won't eat those. And all we're gonna do is put that super on there. Make sure they're organized and even. This is called a Langstroth hive. Langstroth figured out what's called bee space. It's the amount of space that makes a bee comfortable to work in the hive. If it's too close, they won't work it. If it's too far apart, they'll build extra comb like that burr comb I just pulled out. Simply enough. Set this back on here. We'll give her a little shake, make sure she's steady, and we will evenly space our frames that we just built. Just like so. Put our screen top board on, pull that off, lid back on, rock back on, and on to the next one. Every beehive is unique and different. That's why you need to start with 2 hives if you're going to start beekeeping. We'll pop the lid off this. They're a little more lethargic than the other group. We'll go ahead and smoke them down. This hive is not as healthy as the other hive, and we may not need to put a super on here. Smoke them down. They seem a little grumpy. We're checking for eggs and brood. This hive, like I said, is not thriving like the rest of them. A hive without a queen would be a really grumpy hive also. Pop this guy loose. Take our little tool. Reach in. Pull out a frame. And you can see, it's just not as healthy. Inside here, what I can see is no eggs. Let's take a quick peek a little deeper into this. I got honey, but I got no eggs. Here's where we use this little critter. Lay it on the side of the hive, and we'll set that right there, remembering where we pulled it from. Must have hit that with a lawnmower. It's a little tight. And we'll pop out another frame. See what we got. Larva. Very good. Okay. This hive, again, is not thriving, but it's starting to thrive. We will not put a super on the top of this hive. We're going to go ahead and put our lid back on. We're actually going to reduce the entrance size. I'll show you that, so that they get a chance to catch up. All that open space in that hive right there can cause problems later on with hive beetles, moths, and varroa mite. This is an entrance reducer. We want to bring it down to this size. There are 2 options, that size, this size, and wide open like we have here. We're going to shrink it down so that these bees have a little less of a threat in the hive of invasion from robbing, because they're a weaker hive sitting beside really strong hives. So that's an entrance reducer. Those bees will seal that up, and that will protect them and help them to thrive. You can see the difference in the number of bees at the entrance here versus the number of bees at the entrance here. And now they're all getting confused as they come back. A lot more bees on those 3 hives. So this is an 8 frame. This one is bigger. It's a 10 frame. Let's open it up. We'll go ahead and pop the lid. Smoke these dudes down. See some roaches on the top. That's not abnormal. Smoke them down. Hear that? They don't like that smoke. I wouldn't like it either, guys. Okay. Screen top board off. Got all kinds of goo on the top of it. Let's go ahead and get that goo off its burr comb. You can save that and melt it down, or flick it off and let the mice eat it. I can already see down into this hive. Man, that looks like all honey right there. Let's see what we got. I sure would like to try some of this year's honey. Yep, that's full of brood. Also, we don't need to see the queen when we see that. That's Rockstar right there. Brood and food. Okay, so we'll put our 10 frame right on top of here after we clean off this little bit of burr comb. When you're working your bees this time of year, or especially in the fall, you have to work pretty quickly. If not, you will encourage robbing, and they will decimate each other's hives in order to survive. Got them up top a little bit here, so we'll go ahead and smoke them back down. Guys, we only have 1 more to go. Set this guy on. This will be for honey. We want to evenly space. You hear that bee on the microphone? They don't like it at all. Bam, get away. They don't like that mic. Green top board back in here. Sometimes I'll blow down in the hive and that'll stimulate them to come up. And sometimes it doesn't. Okay, we can get some of this burr comb off the top also. This stuff makes awesome lip balm and such. This is burr comb, and it's also propolis. Yeah, it's good for you. We'll set this to the side. propolis. That's the glue that holds the honeybee hive together. I see a hive beetle right there, a tiny hive beetle. Tells me there are beetles, and beetles will decimate a hive quickly. Notice we're working to the best hive. This is the best hive. It's looking the best, it's doing the best. It's already got 3 supers on it. We'll go ahead and smoke these guys down. I can see, I think this is totally full of honey. This is the one with the lean to it. So we'll prop it up just a little bit so that lean goes away. Smoke them down. Guys, hit that like button if you like this kind of content. Love to have you back on the channel. Hope you're subscribed. There we go. Grumpy bees oftentimes are healthier bees. Pretty amazing. Smoke them down. Let's see what we got. Just pull out a frame from right here. Come on, buddies. Be careful. Yeah, we've got brood in here also, which tells me we've got brood way up high. These bees are kicking butt. Kicking butt. Okay, so once we instill this new super, these bees will probably stop reproducing as frequently as they were. In other words, we don't need this many bees in this hive. This hive is huge. This hive has grown. We can put what's called a queen excluder up here to keep the queen from coming up and laying eggs, or we can simply ignore it, and slowly but surely they'll produce honey in the top supers and brood in the bottom. One more medium super. Evenly space everything. Now these bees will use this for honey, specifically for honey, not for brood. And if they don't, we'll put a queen excluder in next time. Rock back in place. That's working the bees, guys. So in review, in hindsight, we didn't need to add a super onto here, which is kind of a bummer. They're not as healthy. Typically 5 is about as high as you want to go. We're at 4 here, but sometimes I've seen them up to 7. That is a lot of honey. So when they're full of honey, a 10 framer weighs about 60 pounds and an 8 framer weighs about 55, 53 pounds. Cool? Guys, that's a lot of honey. 60 pounds fills a 5-gallon bucket, so there's a 5-gallon bucket of honey in each super. 1 pound of honey around here goes for about 12 bucks, something like that. $25 per quart. Good stuff, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me today on the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel. Thought I'd jump in here and do a little bit of beekeeping. Stick around after the credits. I'm going to let you know what this tastes like. Guys, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge. Be sure you subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you back. Woo! Well, come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge. Hot chickens. You guys hot? I'm hot. I feel stingy. Don't you sting me, you stinking old bee. It's stinging. This is the propolis that we just pulled. Doesn't taste like honey, it just tastes like propolis. That's good. We can ball this up and set it on the front of the hive and the bees will use it. This is the honey. Let's see what it tastes like. There's just a tiny bit in there. Oh, that's so good. Country boy chewing gum. That's so good. Oh, it just tastes like home, guys. Whew. We'll see you next time. I'm about to burn up. It is hot. Man, let's go drink some water. See ya.